Hello friends, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Means Recording, and today we are going to get weird with STRIGHT. STRIGHT is a granular processor plugin for Max for Live that I was gifted by the creators, and I wasn't sure I was going to do a video about it, but I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I think it's got some really interesting uses in sound design, creating weird hypergrowl derivatives and stuff like that. So that's what I want to talk about today, is using a granular plugin to create variations on bass sounds and lead sounds so that you can do that as complex, hypergrowl switching kind of things that Complextro and other genres do. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So first of all, let's kind of get a sense of what's going on with STRIGHT. Like I said, it's a granular plugin, meaning that it needs a sample to get started. So let's grab something unoffensive and get to know it a little bit. So here's what the sample sounds like. Some nice piano for us there. And here's what it sounds like when you load a sample in here. Let's go ahead and start by condensing our focus area, this little tiny bit right here. So you can see there's some envelopes here, and if you look closely, you'll see that these envelopes all have an associated thing with them. So we have scan, grain, pitch, volume, FM, filter, and then we can use external 1 and 2 to modulate effects within Ableton, which I will show you. So let's find a good little... Let's find a good little part, something. And I am pressing a key, just so you know. Some of these granular plugins do not go until you hit play, and those are not my favorite. So we're just going to use this. So I'm going to leave key follow here at 0. That means that depending on where I press in the MIDI keyboard, it would actually switch to a new section, which is actually pretty dope, and we'll use that later. So I'm going to turn on gate and have loop. So whenever we hold the key down, it just loops this. Now you can see down here that our envelopes are changing every single time we hit a key. And you can see down here we have these little color-coded things. These are our 4 different envelopes. You can have up to 8 per channel, which means that every single time you press a key, it will cycle through 8 different envelopes. And you can imagine that things are going to get pretty wild. So right now, the duration is really the only thing that is having any effect on this. So let's go ahead and sync our duration and change this to some long amount. Now you can see our envelope being used here. So we can make these envelopes anything we want. Let's do a downward dog for this one. Let's do an upward dog for this one. Let's do, actually, let's just do 2 envelopes for this. So we'll have an upward dog and a downward dog. And this was just a 4. So you can see when we go from top to bottom, we're going reverse. When we go from bottom to top, we go forward. So that's really cool. Next up is grains. Grains are part of the way that granular processing works. And let's go ahead and drop this down to 1 envelope, and we'll play around with this. This granulize function will determine how often the granular processor is working on what we're hearing. And in typical fashion, playback will actually change the pitch. Okay, let's keep warp off for right now, put playback back to 1, and then let's start using this envelope here on the grain so we can hear what goes on. Turn that up here. Let's go ahead and give ourselves some other envelopes here. So we'll change our envelope to 2, and we will switch that one to that. All right, cool. So we do have a pitch envelope. Let's go ahead and make this 1 envelope so we can hear what it does. I bet you can guess what it does. Quality, let's go to better. And then we have some warp modes here. I'm not sure if the warp modes are related to Ableton's inherent warping. We can hear we get some pretty cool stuff. So we'll leave warp off for now. We have a volume envelope, so you can actually change the volume over time. We'll use that later. FM. So let's go ahead and turn this down to 1 envelope here. Frequency modulation of the signal itself. So Let's go ahead and give ourselves a downward envelope for this and turn up. Starting to get a sense of how we might use this to make like crazy sounds. And then a filter. So let's go ahead and make this one envelope here and go like this. And let's go ahead and do a random envelope. There we go. Let's change this to a BN filter so we can hear what that sounds like. And then we want to send the envelope to the filter. Let's go ahead and choose bandpass. We're going to leave the filter off right now, and then we're going to show you how this external stuff works. So if any one of you have used Max for Live LFOs in Ableton, it's basically a bunch of those built into here with their own envelopes, which is super cool. So I was using this earlier with Echo. This will be very, very obvious. Let's put Echo on this channel. Let's go ahead and turn off sync, and let's link these two. And let's hit map here and set this to our left and right sync. Let's take this second one here and map this to feedback. Let's map this to, not that one. Let's map this to reverb. And map this one to decay. And if we give ourselves more envelopes here and hit rand on all of them, we'll get different results. And all this is dependent on the duration here. So we can make this like 8. So, pretty wild, right? All right, so this is what it sounds like on some piano. That's usually my first go-to thing. Let's try a drum loop real quick. We will turn warp on here. Let's turn this down. What if we added something else down here that we could modulate with the effects? Let's add another effect. Let's try this crazy 8 knobs thing. Gonna fix our volume issue here. So yeah, that was it. That was a drum loop at some point. It sounded like this. Let's grab a little synth sound. Yeah, so this is really, 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 really fun. And I just realized I'm working in Ableton 10. Let me fix that real quick. So hopefully you're starting to get an understanding of just how insane this thing can make sounds. And it gets really fun when we start putting in like crazy single bass hits. So let's do that. So pretty good bass sound. But we can make it better. Let's turn on sync and let's start fucking with our settings here. So Scan is already giving us some interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and mess with our grains. All right, and now let's mess with our envelopes. Let's bring our envelopes down to like 1 for right now. And we will dial in an envelope for ourselves and try to make this into something completely new. And then let's grab some external effect and grab it, put it on here. Let's turn this to hertz on the phaser, map this to here. Give ourselves a few more envelopes here. What does an overdrive sound like on here? Now we're talking. One more thing. Let's grab a filter, the auto filter. We're going to put it after the overdrive. I'm going to use a notch. I love myself that notch filter, which is basically a phaser, so we're kind of doubling up there. Okay, so that's good for this one. Let's go ahead and record some of these. So I'm just going to set up a new channel here. I'm going to say hyper record. You know what we could do as well? Let's go ahead and stick a aught on this because, you know, that's how this shit sounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our MIDI thing here, and I'm going to create a variety of sort of auto sampling this basically. So let's get rid of aught on screen. Let's put this up here. And I was hitting C2. So let's go ahead and grab this and go to C2. I don't think it really matters, but you know, we'll just go ahead and do that anyway. So right now our duration is 1. So let's make sure that we are giving ourselves enough time for that to play out. Okay, cool. And then we're going to put some space between each one, something like that. Let's go ahead and make this ×2. You can see now we are longer, and let's make our duration here. Let's hit A and see how now we have duration here. Let's go ahead and make this longer. And then we're going to do the same thing again. And then here we will go to 8. Over time. I'm already loving the results. So we're going to do this with a few samples, and then hopefully we'll have something fun. So let's start. I want to put another limiter on here. We got color limiter right here. We got a little bit of snapping. I like that you can see the envelopes, you know, the different colors. At first I thought that was kind of dumb. I thought the UI was too busy, but then I realized that it was actually really smart because you can see where the other envelope nodes are. And therefore you can make choices. Like see over here how we have the blue and the green. They're basically the same. Let's go over here and adjust this a little bit more. Yeah. Good shit. That is fun as shit. All right, so let's move this down. Let's grab another bass sample and see what it sounds like. Remember, all this can be completely different with another bass sample in there. Hell yes, that is so fucking cool. Yeah, that was the way to go. I'll probably do some recording offline to make more of a pack. I'll be throwing this up on page. Hey, it's Future Jeremy. So I actually took all of these samples and turned them into a crazy sample pack / Ableton Live instrument thing called Bad Wolf that basically generates complex Reese and Hypergrowl kinds of things for you. It's real fun. It needs Ableton Suite 11. If you don't have that, I don't think it'll work, but you can still use the samples. There's over like 400 samples. So check the link in the description of where to grab that on Gumroad or on Patreon if you're a patron. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. It's pretty gnarly. I hope this has been fun for you. you know, it's just a weird little like random Max for Live thing that has a lot of potential for creating sounds for you because of the way these envelopes work. It's kind of like some of the stuff I've been playing with Modular, where like you throw a lot of modulation at something and you don't really necessarily like know what modulation thing's going to hit next. So basically you're just constantly creating these new timbres and new situations that are really, really fun. And, you know, you're letting the machine do the work for you, and then you can just record it and have a good time. So, do play around with Granular when it comes to sound design, when this kind of stuff. Like, it's just really, really wild. Check the links in the description to grab a copy of Strict for yourself, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. My name's Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and I hope you have a wonderful day.